Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kaukauna, Wisconsin, riding a CST tires, SSI decals, Valvoline-packed Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jansen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 166 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our nearly 291,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 140 countries in which you are listening, and this is our Team USA focused recap of the 2025 Quadcross of Nations here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. This week, I'm joined by two of the most influential figures when it comes to Team USA, Mr. Mark Baldwin and Harv Whipple. I've been hoping to get these guys on the show for years, and our conversation delivers in every way, including an emotional moment I'll never forget as we reflect on Chad Wienen's legacy and what his impact has meant to Team USA across an era of dominance. But first, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, Impact Solutions, and Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Use discount code DiggingDeep15 at uppracing.com. Support all these great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. It's that time of year, the off season, and you and your machine both need some TLC. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. Using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing all the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our donors. If you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify because that helps us out a bunch too. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, here finally for a long-awaited and highly anticipated recap of the 2025 Quadcross of Nations here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. And joining me are two of the longtime heartbeats behind the scenes for Team USA, Mr. Harv Whipple and Mark Baldwin, two legends here. Welcoming them both to the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Both of you, Mark, Harv, thank you so much for being here. I just got done telling you both, I've wanted to get you on, both of you, for so long now. So both of you, I can't thank you enough for being here and looking forward to getting into the 2025 Quadcross of Nations.
Appreciate that, Cody. I think we're both excited to hear what you got to ask or offer.
Awesome. And you too, Mark, I can't thank you enough for being here. Obviously a legend in your own right. Mark, I've sent you a number of texts over the years trying to get you nailed down for this thing. All I needed was Harv to say, hey, Mark, let's do this. I would have done that sooner if I would have known that that was the key. But Mark, I can't thank you enough for being here because we obviously are trying to talk to all the legends on these shows. And you've been a void that we've had for the last couple of years here, trying to cover everybody.
Yeah, Cody, I mean, thanks for having us on. And, I'm just super busy and I don't take much time and sit down behind a computer and do these kinds of things. So I know you've asked multiple times. I just have never taken the time to do it. And I need to do more of it. And I guess as I get older and older, I realize that I should take the time, so you got lucky. No, but here we go.
Well, I appreciate you making a little time for me. So.
You're very welcome. And I appreciate the offer and everything you do.
Yeah, I've been after you guys for a long time, so I appreciate you making yourselves available for me. So with this one, guys, like I said, long awaited, wanted to do this, but didn't want to do this thing without you guys. Frankly, I wish I was talking about a win for Team USA, guys, but that track in the Netherlands was beyond gnarly. I don't know how else to say it, and you guys, I'll let you guys paint the picture more than me, but things didn't just fall into place this year for us. Harv, what are your emotions as you remember back to what the experience was like for Team USA at the 2025 Quadcross of Nations?
I kind of felt, honestly, underprepared, and I have no idea really why I felt that way, but I guess probably because I wasn't doing all the ATV motocross and I wasn't in the loop and all of that kind of stuff. And as we got closer, there was a lot of things that we probably didn't do that we should have done. It was tough. I mean, no excuses. We got beat on the racetrack, but I feel like there could have been some more preparation on our end. But second place to the Netherlands on their home terrain, not too bad.
And how about you, Mark? I mean, tell me, and you can set the scene for us too, what the Netherlands was like. And obviously we know what the racetrack was like. It was unlike anything we really see here. The track seemed bottomless. Some of the videos that I saw from late in the day on Sunday, I've never seen a racetrack like that before. I think that there's something to be said about the way that our guys fought and fought and fought, but there's also probably no substitute for growing up in those conditions, riding in those conditions, knowing what that stuff is like, racing and riding on it on the regular, all those things. Our guys were faced with an uphill battle, and things just, like I said before, just probably didn't fall quite right for us. And we got thrown some curveballs and things were tough and some get-offs and all the things. It was a tough effort, but I think also that the guys had a lot to be proud of as well.
Yeah, for sure, Cody. And that's one thing, that the track was very deep. And I guess I've said it to some other people that I don't think there's anywhere in North America that we could have prepared for that type of terrain. I mean, it's bottomless sand. It's a different type of sand. The water table's higher there, so it's a little like spongy. Those guys are sand experts. They have setups for it. And I kind of kick myself for not maybe being a little bit better prepared with some higher ground clearance A-arms, but I never dreamt of running, ride heights, almost twice what we run here. I mean, we're running them up 11 and a half, 12 inch tall bikes, and we're used to running 7-inch tall stuff, and we weren't quite prepared for that. And I guess they were, which as they should be, because it is our home track, but it was tough. It was an uphill battle, and we gave it our best shot. We fell a little short.
And that's something to be proud of. Again, I think, and as the day plays out, as the weekend plays out, at least from my perspective as a Team USA person, obviously an American, all the things, so proud of everything red, white, and blue. I thought that the way that the guys held their heads high, and it was one of those things like you guys are outlining, they were up against it. And I think as the weekend played out, as the day played out, that final race day, I think maybe it slowly became more and more clear that it was going to be really, really, really hard to win this thing, especially with the way that things kind of started in the day. So again, there's been enough time that's went on, enough time has went by here since it's been almost 2 months. So quickly, I'll recap what we had go on there, and then we'll get into some of the details. So after 6 straight titles, obviously by now we know the Team USA traveled to Europe for the 2025 Quadcross of Nations, and for the first time ever, didn't leave as champions. In Moto 1, Joel Hetrick, the 6-time AMA champion and the baddest man on the planet on an ATV, ripped the whole shot and sprinted out to a 10-second lead. But 2 rare crashes left him battered, bruised, and 13th at the line. Bryce Ford, wearing the number 1 for the first time, charged from 17th to 2nd, keeping Team USA in contention. In Moto 2, Chad Wienen grabbed the picture-perfect hole shot in the brutal Dutch sands. Joel Hetrick, starting from the back row, showed grit, slicing through the pack to finish 4th, with Chad Wienen finishing 6th. Those scores put Team USA atop the standings heading into the final moto. In Moto 3, Bryce Ford, finally starting on the front row, got buried off the gate, and he was forced to claw his way to the top 3, looking like he was destined at that point to battle for the lead in that 3rd and final moto, but fading to 5th in the weekend toughest conditions was what we saw from Bryce Ford in that final moto. Chad Wienen, in likely his final appearance at the international event, battled hard to 7th. The final results, with Joel Hetrick's 13th being dropped from that opening moto. Team USA's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 scores totaled 24 points in total, just 2 shy of the home team, the Netherlands, who ended up with 22. So the home team there was led by overall winner Mike van Grinsven. Congrats to the Dutch team, of course. Don't want to focus, completely on Team USA because those guys deserve so much credit. Congrats to the Dutch guys at the line. And the third place team as well at the Quadcross of Nations, Team Estonia, Kevin Saar, those guys, we like those guys too. So they rounded out the podium. This was the first ever loss for Team USA. It obviously stings, but it's proof that the elite standard that Team USA has set is sky high. Every streak, and Harv kind of started this call this way, every streak ends eventually, and what matters is how you respond. So the squad handled the defeat with class, like I just had said. We ended it with telling Team USA to be proud, thanking every rider, crew member, supporter who made this run possible, and saying the motivation is high for title number 7 in 2026. So with that, let's get into some of our questions regarding this event, and kind of starting at the top. And I'll start with you, Mark. Kind of touched on this already, but the streak had to end. It was, inevitably going to end eventually. After 6, this one is the one that came to an end. Team USA's first ever loss at the Quadcross of Nations. What were the immediate emotions like when the final scores came through? I guess, did the guys know? Like, did Bryce and Chad, did they think they won it when they crossed the lines, or what was? I was watching the videos. I'm commentating the event, trying to wonder what was going through those guys' minds. And you were able to see the Netherlands squad slowly unfold that they had won it. Take me through what the emotions were like for you guys, for the team, for everybody at that time, because frankly, they'd never felt that before. None of you did.
Correct, Cody. Yeah, we'd never felt that before. And of course we were disappointed, but, and not sure if the riders knew 100% because it was so close on the points. Mm-hmm. And, when it all boiled down and everybody crossed the finish line, they were starting to celebrate, and the race directors and stuff were calculating the points. And we knew at that point that we had fallen short, and of course we were very disappointed, but, you hold your head high. We're there representing the United States, and, of course, went and congratulated the team from the Netherlands, and they're awesome riders, and they're very well prepared. So, but yes, we were all disappointed. We hadn't been at that point before, but it'll make us stronger, and we'll be back for number 7.
Yeah. So let me revert back to the beginning of this when I said that it came in underprepared. I blame that totally on myself. It was me not following up on a lot of stuff, as to where if I was at the ATV motocrosses every other weekend, we would have meetings that we would sit through. We would have phone calls and all that. I quit the ATV motocross series for a reason, just because I got a lot going on. And I had probably too much going on this summer to do a lot of follow-ups. And that's part of my job, is follow up, make sure stuff gets taken care of, follow up, make sure we do sound testing, follow up with Mark, make sure we get the right tires, follow up with Mark, make sure he's got the right add-ons. And I failed, and I didn't follow up like I usually do. So I take a lot of the responsibility for this. But anyhow, back to what you were talking about with Mark. You asked him about the moto, what it was like, how we knew. I don't know, like, if everybody really knows how it all broke down, but like 3 laps in, we were actually still 1 point up, because I was doing all the math. We all have headsets, we all have radios, we're all in communication. Like 3 laps in, we were 1 point up.
And at that point, Harv, not to interrupt, but at that point, it looked like Bryce looked like he was on his way to winning the moto. And I don't want to overlook that fact either, because he was on a mission early in that race.
That guy's incredible. Anyhow, so then pretty soon we got overtaken. I think Chad got overtaken by one of the riders. And then Mark gets on the radio. Is like, hey, I kind of need to know where we're at so I can tell these guys, because it was kind of quiet at the beginning. The first few laps, we kind of leave the radio open so stuff breaks in. And then I didn't say anything because I'm trying to do the math. Like, that's part of my job there. I don't do a whole lot when I get there other than that kind of stuff, is just make sure everything goes good, make sure registration is taken care of and all that. So anyhow, like 3 laps in, we were still 1 point up. Then I think Chad got overtaken. So that tied us. But at that point, we would have still been the winner, because their rider, the Netherlands rider, wasn't in first yet. So then it goes to whoever has the most first, which whoever has most, they didn't have a first yet in the motos. So anyhow, so then we were still up. So then we got overtaken by another rider, which got us 1 point down. And that was when I got on the radio and told Mark and the Jim and Glenn and all those guys, Paul, that, where we're sitting. And I'm not sure what they pit boarded their guys, but they never gave up. They could, nobody gave up.
No.
The mechanics never gave up. Mark never gave up. Jody never gave up. The athletes never gave up. They kept going and going and going. It doesn't matter what you told them in that pit board, that they wasn't going to stop. So, so then we got to about 3/4 of the way through, and I told them, hey, we're in second. And then I think they started pit boarding. You need to get one more guy. You need to get one more guy. They could barely hang on. 25 minutes plus 2 laps is a long time. And they rode their asses off to get second to the best team on that day, which was the Netherlands.
Yeah. And what an atmosphere. I mean, for those guys to do it on home soil and all those things, what a cool thing for them. But yeah, I was watching the footage. I was watching it go down. I'm helping commentate this thing and some of the bumps I'm seeing, and I'm thinking about Bryce and I'm thinking about Chad and I'm thinking about how tired they must be on the roughest, most brutal track they've ever seen in all their lives, and telling them that they have to go make passes. They have to go chase people down with, their country relying on them. And I'm like, man, that just had to feel like such a giant weight. And the day just went through such a roller coaster, because it starts with Joel Hetrick doing Joel Hetrick things. And that moto had kind of everything for him. I mean, Joel Hetrick gets the whole shot, 10-second lead, uncharacteristic crash, back to the lead, another crash, ends up, going to the back, seeming like he gets, potentially busted up. Mark, take me through what Joel had going on, because it sounded like he was, there was some fighting for him to get back into the race and make it out there for Moto2 and all those things. I got to believe that there was some moments there where some of that seemed like it was up in the air, because again, the start of Moto1, you think, or even halfway through Moto1, everything looks like it's going to go according to plan, like every one of these races has so far. And then things turned with a couple of mistakes by Joel. Yes, for sure. It turned in a hurry there. And fortunately, he was okay. He was trapped under the bike there for almost a lap. And he was in kind of a very unique position there where they couldn't really see him, but they finally got him up and going. And when I was the first one back to the container to meet him, and he was hurting. But Joel's pretty tough. And then Harv was not too far behind me, and he basically took over from there, because he was worried about Joel, and I was worried about helping get his bike prepared. We had quite a bit of staff there with David and his guys, with Jim and Lonnie as well was there to help. But we definitely had to do some stuff to his unit as well, and we had to also be concerned about his health, because that's what we're most concerned with, was the safety of the riders. So it was challenging, and but he was up for the task and got back on. Yeah, given the circumstance, it seemed like that second crash took a toll on him and the machine both. You could tell, because Joel, again, he's a fighter, he's tough, all these things. Seemed like late in the moto, I mean, he was hurting. You could tell by the lap times, you could tell by everything that was going on. I'm like, man, I just hope he's going to line up for Moto2. We'd start to get word that he's going to be okay, but is definitely busted up. So then the pressure goes to Bryce. The pressure in that first moto to carry the team goes to Bryce, and wearing the number 1 for the first time, and he looked the part. I was so impressed by the way that he put the team on his back in that opening moto. And I've said for years about the Quadcross of Nations, Bryce brings his absolute best to this race. He always does. I think he just thrives. He thrives on it, and 17th to 2nd in that first moto. I was so very proud of him again, for putting the team on his back. And I don't know how he does it, but he always seems to bring his best to this event, Mark. Bryce elevates his game there, and he absolutely loves that event. He's a racer, and he elevates his game. But when he came back to the pit area, he was pretty upset as well, seeing his teammate underneath the quad. He said he almost stopped to get him out. He was pretty distraught, but he definitely rode well there first moto, and was one of the most brutal motos he had ridden, and prior to the second moto, but he did a good job. Yeah. And Harv, we see the track get worse and worse throughout the day here. We've touched on that a bunch already. It's kind of funny how we watched it play out too for the innocent bystanders, probably of the internet watching it play out, because I think as some of the photos and videos of like track walk and all those things, play out, at first, I think everybody's like, man, it looks like a pit bike track, looks like a backyard track, all these things. And by the time even the qualifying motos are going on, I think that it was I know you guys weren't taking any of it lightly, but the internet world, I think the perspective started to change a little bit on what this was going to be like. And these Quadcross of Nations, we've raced at a sand track or two, but there's been nothing like what we saw in the Netherlands. I mean, again, there's nothing like it. And another thing that we haven't touched on yet, but the tire choices was unique kind of for every guy, because Joel was doing, trying to run cross country tires, I believe. Chad's running 4 snows. That's a whole nother hurdle that is totally unnatural to us completely.
I want to back up to what you talked to Mark about after the Moto 1 when Joel got back to the paddock area.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
Got to the container. I was a little bit behind Mark, but Mark was there and everyone was kind of talking to Joel, trying to get him settled down. He was pretty worked up. That's a long ways from home to be stuck underneath the quad for over a minute. There's a lot to think about in that period of time. So felt bad for him. But as soon as I got there, Mark knew I was there, I think, and he pretty much just left. And between him and Jody and Paul and Glenn, and it's all hands on when you're there. It's all hands on deck. So everybody helps everybody. So anyhow, I got there and he was pretty shaken up. He was all scuffed up on his arm and all that. And we kind of looked at his helmet and it was kind of messed up a little bit. And I was pretty sure that he wasn't concussed. I mean, because he wasn't, there was no signs of that, but I called the doctors over there. Anyhow, it's just the way it is. I don't, he wanted to be tough. He didn't want to see no one. That's just how racers are.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine. Get back on it. Let's go. But I called the doctors over there and the doctors came over and evaluated him and 19 phone calls that we got while we was trying to get him evaluated. So anyhow, the doctors seen him and everything and ruled out any concussion and ruled out anything that, if you think you can go back out there, you can go back out there. So they went away. And then pretty soon they came back. And then Mark's like, what are the doctors doing back in there with Joel? Well, there was another federation that for some reason thought that maybe Joel shouldn't be out there competing anymore, that he wasn't fit to compete. So they had to come back and do a second evaluation under FIM rules to more tests and all that, because basically we weren't really getting protested. But there was someone that brought something up to another federation that said, you need to go back and you need to check C, D, E, and F. You only checked A, B on this athlete. So they came back, checked C, D, E, and F, and went away, and Joel was perfectly fine to compete. But we would have never let him compete. There's not a chance in the world that if we knew he had a concussion or anything, that Mark nor I would have sent him back out there again. That's why I had the doctors come over. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, that was kind of something that maybe someone doesn't know, is someone was trying to get him thrown out. I guess they're still scared of him after he laid underneath the squad for a minute.
We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, off-road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion Top Fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at SSIDecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you? For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence, knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil.
They have every right to be scared of him, but there was probably some nervous time there if they're really trying to keep him out of this event.
Yep.
We can't win this thing with 2 guys. It just doesn't work that way. So yeah, that's really interesting to hear. Harv, Mark, circling back to that last question I had, can you break down the tire situation for me? Because again, what a unique situation, stuff that I still can't believe I was seeing Chad's quad with 4 snows on it. That's insane to me. Take me through that, because there's a lot of math that goes on in your head. And we race here, you race the same setup basically every weekend. The tracks are very similar. Our ground is very similar. When you're racing and doing things that you don't do on the regular, there's nerves that come with that too, so take me through the tire situation.
Yeah. So the tire situation was a little tricky for us because, Joel and Chad were both contractually bound to certain brands of tires.
Yep.
So they were, of course, trying to fulfill those obligations. So that's why Joel had stuck to the CST brand. Mm-hmm. And Chad was also with the Maxxis and the 4 Snows, which were manufactured by them. And Bryce was pretty much on an open deal. He could do whatever we wanted. So we chose to run the Gold Speed stuff like what the European sand experts use.
The tall, narrow stuff, basically,
the
right?
tall, narrow stuff. And then there's a smaller version of that as well, that we tried to actually qualified on that tire.
Okay.
And we tried to use that, but it didn't give us enough ground clearance. So you needed that larger diameter to get through the ruts. And that's the other thing, circling back to like the track conditions. And I think you said it, Cody, that people thought that the track looked like a pit bike track, and they'd go out there with these big wheel loaders and grade that thing, and it looked like a super freeway. Yeah. But in a matter of 2 laps or 3 laps at most, you're already dragging a chassis with 12-inch deep ruts. It was crazy. So, and it just got so whooped out, and there was no place anywhere to rest. And even coming down the hills, the braking bumps were just like kickers, like severe. So, and those tires, they of course bounce a little bit more. So, we were trying to make the suspension changes for that as well. And we should have done a little more testing on that stuff.
Like you said, though, like Harv trying to fall on the sword for everybody is like, man, this is on me. I should have done this. I should have done that. And I'm sitting here thinking, Mark, like, but there's no way to simulate that here. You guys said that at the very start. There was no way to practice that. You said that on North American soil, there's no way to practice in those conditions. There's no way to mimic it.
Yeah, we think, the Sunset Ridge gets rough. That place is like motor speedway, been a lot of racetracks, and there was nothing like it.
Yeah, unreal. Like I said, I just have these images of some of the shots I saw from Moto3 in the middle of what would have been a normal straightaway leading up to a tabletop. And in the middle of that straightaway where the hot line would have been earlier in the day is a mogul, is a kicker as big as their 4-wheeler. That there is no chance you could hit that line, and everybody's going to the left or the right of it. And I'm thinking there's spots like that everywhere on this racetrack right now. And again, I can't even begin to imagine what that experience is like. So yeah, crazy. Harv, so one guy we haven't touched on yet, Chad Wienen, been a part of every one of these Quadcross of Nations races, but one last year, of course. Chad's leadership in his final appearance, or what we assume will be his final appearance, delivered a whole shot in one of the toughest conditions there, running the 4 snows, battled all weekend long, and what may have been this final event for him in Quadcross of Nations history anyway. What did his presence, leadership, and this performance mean for the team, Harv? Because we haven't talked about Chad a ton. We saw what it was like without him, and it was weird last year in 2024 to see he's been such a staple, obviously, of Team USA. Helping lead this thing from the very beginning. What was it like to have Chad back for another run here in 2025?
It was great. We actually had Chad come last year in 2024.
I remember
as a liaison, and came over basically as a rider coach. We had Brandon, that was his first time there. So we thought he could be helpful with Brandon, and Chad could be helpful with anybody. So we had him come last year, and he was very helpful there. And, I don't know. It was I don't know what to say, surreal or whatever, but it was everybody knowing that it was his last event. We wanted the best for him, for Chad. And it was probably one of the toughest races he's probably ever raced in his life, knowing that it was probably his last on that stage. I think he's going to do some one-off events that he chooses to do. But Chad is very knowledgeable. We have container meetings. Every morning when we go in, everybody gets in a container, we all brief, and everybody's always got, some input. So I kind of lead it, and Chad's always got input for not only like the riders, we'll talk about what lines to use or whatever. He'll even help with setup. I don't know if good, bad, or otherwise, if anybody's going to get in trouble, but Joel wasn't able to make it there in time. So Chad rode Joel's bike to get it all set up to make sure it was Joel worthy. And how cool is that?
pretty darn cool. Yeah.
How cool is that for David Eller to even allow that? The owner of that machine and their competitors here. And, and he was more than willing. And so then after he was done, Jim would come over to Joel's mechanic would come over and, what do you think? And Chad was telling him, well, this is, do a little bit here. Joel's a little bit lighter than me. He's a little bit, you may have to change some stuff here. And it was all in favor of the team. There's no one that's worried about any individual when we're there. I don't care if it's a mechanic, a rider, a spouse, everybody's there helping everybody together. So this is good. Chad Wienen is who Chad Wienen is. And then at the end of it, he gave away a bunch of super cool jerseys, last one. So awesome. I got one of those. My wife's got it getting it framed right now.
Nice. How cool is that? So yeah, you're right. I think everybody wanted it to go really well for him, knowing it was probably the end of, him representing Team USA. We saw firsthand at Briarcliff, what it was like for him to kind of do a walk-off situation. It was like a storybook. And, leading up to that third moto, him and Bryce, I'm like, man, how cool would it be? And Chad's so gnarly and, always been so gnarly in those rough conditions. They're what we think of as rough conditions here in the States. And I'm like, man, maybe he's just got one more in him. And it just, for the team in general, it didn't line up to go that way. But again, I thought that everybody had so much to be proud of. Team USA, kind of recapping, I had some more questions here. I feel like we kind of covered a lot of what happened in the middle of this race day. Moto 2, there was this momentum shift. The Moto 2 kind of put us back in control at the time. Like you said, Harv, we were leading going into that third moto there. Chad led early in that one. Joel, fought back from that injury, sliced through the pack. That was a pivotal moto for everybody and the confidence and all the things. I'm assuming everybody thought going into that third moto that we were going to win this thing. And it ends up coming down to 2 points. And as it's our human nature to then look back on the few things that could have, that went wrong, that maybe couldn't, you wish didn't go that way. The couple get offs that you never see from Joel Hetrick. We were on these shows all season long talking about the dude is going faster than anybody on earth and he never makes a mistake. And we see a couple mistakes and, the track catching up with these guys. And, I sat back and wondered like with Chad, right? He's so good on these tracks. And I'm thinking, were there something with the tires that were maybe it was a side bite an issue? And maybe those are conversations for a different day, but all the things you just think about how close it comes down to, those couple points. And at the same time, and we kind of started this whole conversation talking about this, but Mike Van Grinsven is known as the gnarliest of gnarly sand riders, and he should be. He comes from the Netherlands. We saw Manfred Zeinecker, be a guy who was battling, in the top 5-ish of the Pro-Am class at Briarcliff, and there was times on this race day on Sunday, he looked like the gnarliest man on the planet in those sandy conditions. There's just something to be said about those Euros, and when it comes to those sandy conditions, they had it dialed. And I would think if we had to do it again, and Harv said this already, we would go back with, different intentions, expectations, preparation. We'd do things differently second time around. That being said, though, it was kind of Harv already said it. It was just one of those days for the Euros. It was their day on their track. And I hope that we get another shot there at some point, maybe, that would be fun. But it was kind of the perfect combination for Team Netherlands to knock off Team USA on this day. And I don't know what else there is to say about that.
Yeah, there was definitely no favors given, towards the USA. It was kind of ironic. One of their sponsors, their main sponsor was a heavy equipment company. And they had, I don't know, Mark, they had probably 4 inloaders, 4 bulldozers, rolling equipment, excavating equipment. They had all that equipment parked all over. Okay. And after the race on Saturday, the only thing they touched on that racetrack was the start line. And the only thing they touched on that racetrack after every race was the start line until the very last moto of the day on Sunday when the sidecars came through on their parade lap. And the Dutch came through. They're I don't know how many times they've won the sidecars. Just they're incredible athletes, and they're such good guys. Their sidecar and their quad guys. So the Dutch came through on their sight lap, and they pulled over to the FIM officials, and they're like, "It's impassable. This track is impassable." So then after the side lap for the sidecars, they took every piece of equipment that was parked all weekend long out on the racetrack and
Are you
excavated.
serious? Oh my gosh.
100%. So, which that's fine. We race the same racetrack as everyone else, but no favors given. And that's the way I would want it.
Yes. Yeah. You wouldn't have it any other way. You want the best shot. I do think that that's kind of an FIM thing, isn't it? Because they talk about the MXGP, tracks for the bikes, and that they won't groom the tracks all weekend long, basically. That, they'll start Sunday for the, the motos with the track being the same as it was for the qualifying races on Saturday. And I've always thought, like, really? Like, don't you want a super cool racetrack to, have showcase for the fans? But yeah, maybe that's an FIM thing. Maybe it's, trying to stack the deck against Team USA thing. I don't know, but they sure knew how to dial up a gnarly racetrack. So how about you, Mark? There's so much adversity throughout the day. I think that everybody, kept the mindset right. Crashes, injuries, back row starts, brutal conditions. The team took so many punches, and yet every time the guys and all of your guys stood up and were looking to, swing and take another shot. And there's a lot to be said about that, because, these guys are the gnarliest dudes on the planet on ATVs. And yet they were up for the challenge when they probably got met by a tougher challenge than they expected, to be honest with you. And I think that the motivation for, number 7 has got to be higher than ever, I would think, Mark.
It is for sure high. And yes, we were met with some serious challenges on that particular weekend. But as Harv said before, it's a team effort, and everybody put forth their best foot, and we tried, and we fell a little bit short. But we will definitely be better prepared for number 7.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to shift a little bit, because I don't want this to all be doom and gloom, right? I mean, there's so much for everybody to be proud of. Again, it speaks to the high standard. It's such a sky high standard that we have for this event as Americans. So give me, Mark, favorite event, favorite part, favorite moment, favorite happening at this year's Quadcross of Nations. I'm sure, when you think back 10, 15, 20 years from now, you're thinking about what happened in the Netherlands. Could be away from the racetrack, could likely be away from the racetrack. Tell me favorite moment from this one.
Oh, you're going to catch me. I'm going to be speechless here for a second, Cody.
Unless Harv's got an answer
let
ready.
Harv go first. Maybe he'll feed you on something I can't remember. Yeah. We didn't run any bicycles over or anything like that, which there's more bicycles in the Netherlands than you can even imagine. But
right? Okay,
I'll defer to Harv for a second.
What you got, Harv?
If you're just talking favorite moment, like as far as
could be anything
at the event, I would say when,
or could be outside of the event. Anything.
Well, I might have one outside of the event too. So my favorite moment at the event was when it was all said and done, and Chad came over and gave me that jersey. That was pretty special. One of his, he signed it. He wrote a nice little note on it. I always like getting stuff like that. And then probably favorite outside of that is we always have a team dinner on Friday. And I just enjoy getting everyone together in an atmosphere that's outside of the racetrack and converse and get to meet people and talk about stuff other than racing, talk about family stuff, that kind of stuff. So probably a favorite off track was our team dinner on Friday night, which we have every year. And then favorite on track would probably be when Chad gave me that jersey. And then at the end of the day, on Friday, before we closed those doors on that container, and Mark and I and Chad and Joel and Bryce, we all stood back there and put our arms around each other and held the American flag and got a photo of all that. And I have that photo, and I'll never forget that photo. And just proud to be a part of it. As minute as I am when I'm there, there's a lot of stuff that I do before I get there that goes into what happens. So yeah, it was very enjoyable. Every time we go there, I think some people think that you go there and you're on vacation and you do all this kind of stuff. And we enjoy ourselves while we're there. We have fun, but we also take it very serious.
And isn't there something to be said about how different the dynamic is between some of the top guys in comparison to what it was like 10 years ago when, obviously you never saw like, Joel and Chad, there was some animosity there, and John and Chad and, name whoever, there was animosity there. And I think that there's got to be a more sense of togetherness. I've always thought that with this Team USA thing, because everybody is forced, to coexist and spend more time together and work in collaboration together. And I think that Team USA, this effort that you guys have put together is a huge part of that. And there's got to be something to be said. I would love to be a fly on the wall at, that team dinner, because again, I've said this before, but you could have two of the gnarliest competitors, and that's what these guys are, three of the gnarliest competitors. And yet there's a sense of respect there between those racers, because nobody understands each other like the other one. Joel has went through things that very few people on earth have went through, but Chad has, and Bryce is going through those now. And there's just something to be said about the understanding and the respect and the togetherness that, like I said, that this Quadcross of Nations Team USA effort has birthed over the years here. There's just something really, really, really cool about that and special.
It hasn't always been like that.
Okay.
When we first started in 2017, the very first year when we went was Joel and Chad and Thomas. And I believe that was the first year Joel won the ATV Motocross Championship. 17? Yes, I think I'm right there.
Yeah, 17, so 19. Yep.
Finally beat Chad Wienen. So I don't remember what moto it was, but it was was it the first moto or the second moto where Chad was leading, and I think Joel was right behind him, and Joel was doing everything he could to pass him. This was before we knew a whole lot about it and had the team meetings like we do now and all that. And it was really rocky, and there was gravel up and everything else. And he finally got by him. And at the end of the moto, I pulled Joel aside and I said, "Joel, what are you thinking out there?" I said, "This is a team race." I said, "You're right behind him. There's gravel." I said, "Look at your radiator. You're full of grit and everything else." And I won't curse, but him and I got into it pretty heavy. And pretty soon Carly comes in the container and she's all rapping at me. And we got over it, but it took a little bit. And I think from that conversation that we had there, ever since then, I think it really sunk in that it's more of a team effort than it is an individual. But everybody wants to win. They're all racers.
For sure, Harv. You definitely...
You remember that.
No, I remember that very well.
Joel remembers it. If he hears this, he'll crack up.
I remember like it was like 5 minutes ago. But and Cody, it has brought, I think, all the competitors maybe a little closer. And it's cool to hear them talking about how they attack the racetrack, different lines, how they jump this, how they jump that. But they realize we're there for one common goal, and that's to bring home a gold medal. And those guys are all really good friends. The camaraderie amongst all of us. I mean, it's a tight knit group, and we're all buddies at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty darn cool. And getting back to the favorite moments.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
The following message is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The Manscaped engineering team has outdone themselves this time, creating the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, now available for purchase in the US and Canada. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, an official sponsor of the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast, with this exclusive offer of 20% off and free worldwide shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at Manscaped.com. I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0, and I am blown away. This thing is next level. What sets this trimmer apart from all the rest? The Lawnmower 4.0 gives you the ability to turn the LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. It features a new multi-functioning on-off switch with travel lock for those of us who like to travel. And my favorite, the new trimmer allows you to customize your trim with 4 different guard lengths and upgrade from its predecessor that only featured 2. If you're listening, you know that good tools are a must, so wait no more to get the best tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with code DiggingDeep20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com by using code DiggingDeep20.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheeled racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen. Plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP Brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Headlined by their 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the #1 choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the Pro Paddock, with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. With a desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the Ultimate Protection Collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DiggingDeep15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show.
I don't think Chad had given Harv a jersey yet, but he talked to me in the container and thanked me for everything I had done or have done for the team and with him. And it was, I got a little emotional.
Yeah.
So it was, it'd be hard to go back without him. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Mark, you might not have heard this, but we talked to Chad about right prior to Briarcliff, and in the way that, we didn't know at the time that he was going to walk this thing off the way that he did here in the States. Yeah. And one of the things that he said was,
I kind of look back on like the guys that are still here, like the Mark Baldwin, like sometimes Wayne from PEP comes around, and a lot of those guys that seen me remember me from the first time that we met, and to kind of like still look at them the same way, be like where I can kind of like wink at them, be like, pretty cool that, they were there when the first time, and they're, Mark's still going to be there, at the last. And it's probably the cool thing, because, you know, you don't know what's going to happen the first time that you meet and where it's going to go.
Yeah,
and
that's a pretty special thing.
And you know what, Cody? I'll be totally honest with you. That's one of the only podcasts of yours that I've listened to the entire thing.
That's awesome.
What? When I got off, when that podcast ended, I called Wayne Meridian and said, Wayne, I just listened to your podcast and said, you need to get your butt on a plane and come and watch Chad Wienen's last race. He hadn't been to a race in several years. Guess what? He went right to his computer and booked a ticket and came to that race.
That's
because
amazing.
I called him. And because the second guy that he mentioned was Wayne Meridian, who was a great supporter of Chad's as well.
Of course, yeah.
Chad and I are great friends, as well as his wife, his family. They're great people, you know, and he often told me that he modeled his program off of what Tim Farr and I did, you know, and all the success that we had.
Tim was his guy. He still says to this day, Tim's my favorite guy.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's just, you get the three of us guys together. It's pretty cool. It's fun.
But that story itself, Mark, makes the hair on my arm stand up, because
correct, Cody.
Just unreal, man. Unreal. That's so cool.
See the heavyset Chad Wienen, who was a football player, become an 8-time national champion with some injuries, and then also getting how many 6 world championships, basically, you know, so we're being involved in 6.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
And Mark, and again, this might not be something that you know, but I've said this on so many of my shows that I really, Digging Deep started by wanting to tell Chad Wienen's story, because at the very, you know, there was a time there in the middle of his run where like we do in sports, right? You want to see the guy on top fail. Like you just, I don't, but you know, we cheer for the underdog. Everybody does. It's just a thing. And I thought that people were starting to forget that Chad Wienen was the underdog. Chad Wienen was like every other person, you know, every other guy racing on the weekend. Chad was one of you. And somehow he managed to, you know, etch out this career unlike anybody else's. And that's really where Digging Deep started, wanting to tell that story. So now for it to all come full circle, and, you know, to have you guys from both sides recounting what that was like at the beginning. Absolutely unreal. But yeah, Chad was the working man, blue collar. He was the pro that, you know, you wanted to cheer for because the odds were stacked against him, beating the odds. And man, he sure did beat them. And that's an amazing story to hear.
And he's beaten in racing, and he's beaten a lot of things, and everything he does, he tries to win, whether it's ATV racing, playing blackjack, cornhole, Vikings football, right. Whatever real estate venture he's into or whatever. So,
I love it.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I love it. So as we finish up here, guys, so when I was in, like we touched on a little bit here, I was part of the broadcast team and got an opportunity to do that, probably with the help of Harv. And I can't thank you enough for that, Harv, for putting a good word in for me. I had the time of my life doing that. It was so much fun. They mentioned when I kind of finished up with those guys, they're like, you know, maybe, you know, coming to the States, coming to, you know, the USA for one of these things, one of these years. And I've been asked that so many times, you know, is it ever going to come to the States? And I'm like, there's no way they're ever going to make all these teams come to America when we're the only team that comes from here. There's no way. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the tracks would be cool. We'd have a cool track for it, you know, I'm sure, but the math doesn't math for me. But then the broadcast team made me think, well, maybe there's a chance. So I'll let you guys jump in there. Is there a chance that it would ever come to the States? Because I have my doubts.
My gut feel is no. Maybe Harv would shed some light on that, but it's just the sheer cost. I mean, we're very fortunate here in the United States to have a core group of very supportive people behind the team, and they're enthusiasts. They want to go, and just the cost to build not only support the team, but the riders themselves, the equipment that they supplied to put in the container to ship over there. Mm-hmm. It's a huge investment on everyone's part. And I don't foresee all those European teams being able to do that to come to race here in the United States. And I mean, yes, we would welcome it. But financially, at this point with ATV racing, I don't know whether it would be possible, because it's got to be also the sidecar have to be included with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's a huge undertaking considering, the container I just unloaded it 3 hours ago off the truck, so.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, if it's returned. So we're 2 months, so your stuff is tied up and it left first part of August. So, that'd be a big undertaking.
Yeah. And that was my gut feeling too, Mark, but I'll let Harv jump in there because again, I thought I would have told you there was a 0% chance and the broadcast team cracking the door open maybe told me there was a 1% chance, but Harv, I'll let you jump in there.
I would say never say never. The difficult part would be the sidecars. I don't think the quad part with all the professional athletes and teams that we have that are willing to rent.
Sure.
I think there's some possibilities there on rent rides when they arrive.
Mm-hmm.
But back to Mark, the cost of it and the logistics of it. And we spend a lot. It costs a lot of money to ship that container. We are very grateful for those that help us with the cost of everything. But I don't know. I guess I can't see it in any foreseeable future, but at our press conference on Thursday night, when we were in the Netherlands, they announced the 2026 event at the Dardenne, France, I believe.
Okay.
27, possibly somewhere towards Ireland. And then someone in the press conference asked, where do you go from there? And Martin Benya said, possibly as far away as Asia. So
okay.
He never said the United States, but he never said not. So
gotcha. Okay.
He is Martin. I know you met him on the call and that kind of stuff. Martin Benya, the promoter of the sidecar cross and the Quadcross of Nations, he puts a lot of effort into this. And I don't know who all is aware, but either in 2026 or in 2027, I don't know for sure how far along he is, but there will be a FIM World Championship ATV motocross series, just like there is a FIM World Championship MXGP for bikes. So what you see over there now, how they race some events. So the quads either in 2026 or in 2027 will be on the same schedule as the sidecar cross guys. And it will be a FIM motocross world championship for individuals.
Wow. Well, that's impressive. And that's going to make them up their game that much more over there, right? I mean, that's where my mind goes.
I would hope so.
Yeah, that's impressive. And
actually, Martin took Chad. Martin took Chad after that press conference and is trying to talk Chad into racing the first season of that, if it is this coming year.
Okay. Well, that would be maybe that's why he says he's open to some Euro stuff going forward. But yeah, that'll be interesting to monitor. That'll be a very good viable series for the top European dogs that like Kevin Saar, some of these guys that we've seen over here, right? That gives them a very viable option to race over there. So that'll be cool for them. That'll be fun to monitor. Another thing looking forward, kind of the last thing I got here for you guys, kind of looking forward to 2026. And you talked about France, Harv. That's not we haven't been there yet, right? That'll be another new track for us.
We haven't, the USA hasn't been there, but in 2020, COVID happened. In 2021, they had the event and that's they went to that circuit.
Gotcha. Okay.
In 2021, but we never went that year because the COVID was still going on. So
France, yeah. I think of hard packed and elevation.
Correct.
Mark. Yeah.
Correct. And it's kind of about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half northwest of Lyon, which is south of Paris, probably 4 hours. Kind of mountainous over there. I've been in that area before for Ponyville.
Yep.
Ponyville's northeast east of Leon will be Northwest.
Okay.
In relatively the same area.
Gotcha.
Due west of Geneva, Switzerland. So,
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, should be good. Should be a hard pack. Elevation, hilly.
Exciting. Mark's sitting here thinking about that. He just unloaded the container today or is working on it. And the last thing he wants to think about is packing that thing in August. Cause I don't have to tell you guys how quickly that time will be here. That's a crazy thing to think about. So what I was going to get at there, thinking about 2026, thinking about what things might look like 8 months from now. I mean, Chad, like we talked about, probably not going to be on the team anymore. He's obviously not racing here in the States, not on a regular schedule anyway. There's a big opening. We've had Chad Wienen on the team basically every year that he's been healthy other than one. I would, certainly, I think you can definitely pencil in Joel Hetrick and Bryce Ford. That leaves another spot on the team. Brandon Hogue's been on the team before. Jeffrey Rastrelli has as well. He's, not racing anymore. Thomas Brown is the only other guy that's been on the team. So, I mean, there's a big opportunity there for somebody. And it could be Brandon again, of course, but there's a chance. I mean, we've seen stock rising with guys like, guys like Mason Jackson, some other guys that have been up there in the top 5. There's a void there. And I would think that there's some guys this offseason going into next season, because Team USA is such a prestigious thing. There's guys I guarantee that are in the back of their mind are thinking this might be my year. And that's an exciting thing, guys. I mean, that could only be good for the team is to have, that be on the radar of some guys and they bring their best, and hopefully, maybe finishing in the top 3 in the series means a trip to Europe to represent Team USA. And that's a really exciting thing for one of these young guys.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, I think it drives the whole sport, not just the professional athletes, but it gives riders something to strive for. Hey, I want to do that someday.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the cards fall and go from there.
And that's exactly right. And I'll let Harv jump in there too. But I think it's cool now that we've been doing this. You guys have been doing this long enough that it is something that a younger rider would have thought about when they were on minis and on 250s. And that was a goal for them. And Chad and I had talked about this, Thomas as well, that for us, it was like, you'd watch the Motocross of Nations and you think, man, that would be awesome if we had something like that. And now we do. We've had for a number of years. And yeah, I just think of Mason Jackson or one of those younger guys growing up thinking about, probably attending maybe, some of the classes with the guys and stuff. And, maybe that being flipped to 180 and being one of those guys, here going forward. So that's a really fun thing. I'll let you tie up your thoughts there, Harv, but that's an exciting thing thinking about 2026 and what the team might look like.
Yeah, I think, obviously Joel, as long as he's competing, he is definitely going to probably take over the role of captain, but I don't think we've given enough credit to Bryce over what he did 2 years ago and the shoes that he had to fill after Joel went down in the first moto. He is, for a young guy, he shoulders the weight pretty good. And that's pretty proud of him and Joel and Chad, all 3 of them. But Bryce was disappointed in his finish, and he had no reason to be disappointed. Nobody had any reason to be disappointed. The mechanics, the riders, the managers, nobody had any reason to be disappointed. So as far as third rider next year, yeah, I mean, you said with Mason and with riders coming on, it's one of the things that when we first started all this is it just give riders opportunity for more. There's only one person that could win the AMA Pro ATV Motocross Championship every year, but there are 3 people that get to go to the Quadcross of Nations and have a chance to win a world championship. So it's pretty cool that we give more than one an opportunity.
I would agree. I think, like I said, I think it's exciting. We mentioned Mason, we mentioned Brandon. Brandon's, obviously represented the team and represented well here in the past, in 2024 when he went over there. And I think you got to mention, Max Lindquist. I mean, he's a viable option. There's going to be dark horses too that are going to jump in there, I'm sure. But that's a really exciting thing. And I think you're probably right, Harv. We cover these races all season long. We talk so much about the races. I think all of us are probably guilty of Bryce setting the bar so high for himself. I mean, set the bar so freaking high. Went into the finale having finished second at every moto but one. And he's elevated so much that he's the clear cut number 2 guy. He shuffled Chad Wienen, an 8-time champion, behind him. And Bryce was the clear cut number 2 guy. I don't think that there's enough to be said about the guy. And then, like I said to Mark earlier in this conversation, he consistently every single year has brought his absolute best to the Quadcross of Nations. And again, there's something to be said about that, because Harv talked about for Joel, he goes down, he crashes. There's some realities of what it might look like, if you're hurt, on the other side of the world, all those things. I was thinking about this as I was getting ready to call the race, and I'm like, hopping on a plane, your quad's already over there. You're racing out of a container. Nothing's normal. They don't speak your language. You don't get to have somebody at the starting line with you. All the things that make this event foreign, to then still bring your absolute best to that race. There's so much to be said about that to me. And again, for all of these guys, there's so much credit to go around and is deserved of these guys. So, kind of to wrap up my thoughts here. Again, I wish we were talking about a win here, but there's so very much to be proud of for these guys. And I'm glad. And again, I was proud, if I can say that, of the way that they took it and the way they held their heads high, and you could still see them standing on the podium with pride, holding the American flags. There's something very major to be said about a person and an athlete being gracious in defeat. And I'm sure it hurt as much as any loss has probably hurt some of those guys. And you guys would know this better than me, but there's also something just as important, at least from my perspective, to be said about the way they handled it and the way everybody involved handled it. And that makes me that much more proud to be, an American and a Team USA, supporter, or however you want to say that. That makes me really proud of our guys and the way that they represented us. And, I don't know what else there is to say about that, because that means a lot to me as an American ATV motocross fan.
Yeah, well, we go into the thing, Cody, and we're professionals, and they're professional athletes, and where they're representing the country, and you just gotta have to be a professional person, and handle every situation the best you can.
Yeah. Harv, is there anything left that we've left unsaid here, Harv?
I don't think so. Just appreciate everything that everybody's ever done to help get Team USA abroad. I mean, the athletes, the mechanics, the technicians, managers, sponsors, families, friends, all the fans that have made this possible. Thank you, guys. It's been awesome. So I've come a lot closer with a lot of people than I would ever thought I would be. And it's been a hell of a ride. So thank you.
Yeah, well said, Harv. With that, I can't thank you guys enough for doing this. Again, both of you, I've wanted to have you on the show for a long time. So I appreciate you guys getting together, giving me an hour plus of your time here and making this happen. Nobody could have told the story and better of the event than you guys did. I appreciate your guys' perspective so much. And I hope that we can do this again sometime soon. Maybe talking about some old times, some past races. Mark, I'd love to talk about your times with, Timmy and Uppy and so many riders to, be associated with Baldwin over the years. I know, Harv, you have a million stories to tell too with your time as referee of our series. So for both of you, on behalf of our entire sport, I can't thank you enough for all your efforts, Team USA and otherwise. Can't thank you enough for your time tonight. I appreciate it so much. And again, I hope we get to do this again sometime, because this means the world to me.
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you, Cody.
Awesome, guys. Thanks to Harv Whipple and Mark Baldwin. We'll sign off here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. And again, have a good night, guys. Thanks so much for your time. And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Cody. Good night.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks so much.
I'll say it one last time. I wish we had been talking about a win, but it was a special conversation nonetheless. Hopefully more to come from both of those guys. And again, major thanks to tonight's featured guests, Mark Baldwin and Harv Whipple, right here on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to my wife, Brooke, and thanks to AMA official Harv Whipple again. Special thanks to Elise Harris at The Digital Impact for amazing camera work for this event. Thanks to all of our partners, CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, Impact Solutions, and Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and to help us out a little bit in the process. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. Shop our show merch at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com. Find all things Digging Deep ATV Fantasy related at atvfantasy.com. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on the show, 920-569-3519. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Otherwise, follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content, coverage, and more fun stuff as we are in the dog days of the off season now. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com, so check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend. Please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Mark Baldwin, Harv Whipple, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with nearly 291,000 downloads last month in 140 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quad leaders are freaking